the global economy, the United States economy, all these fragile systems that global shocks or things like COVID or other kind of stuff, tariffs, all these individual things, the AI bubble, any number of things could put us into complete shock and disarray and violence. And I mean, now, admittedly, none of these things are super likely right now, but taken as a whole, I mean, there are so many things that can affect these super sensitive systems. And just with the way that things are right now, I have no faith in our current government to do what's right and to uphold law and to do so morally and to the standards of our Constitution. We see that every day and every week, laws being broken and nothing being done about it. We have a felon for a president, folks. Lastly, concealed carry. So, I just touched upon how there are fragile, we live in a fragile world, we have fragile systems, and these systems are systems on systems on systems. One block falls over and the Jenga tower all collapses, right? Again, I'm not a doomsday prepper, I'm not a tinfoil hat guy, but I'm real. I want to be honest with you that the world that we live in today is not guaranteed. The history of our species is one of empires rising, empires falling, bloody social or ethnic conflicts, great powers, Roman Empire, and then the Persians, and then Chinese, all these dynasties and empires and kingdoms and serfs, and then it collapses, and then you have your Library of Alexandria or your Forgotten Age, and the world that we live in today is quite fragile, and people don't know how to farm. Let's say we lose electricity somehow, solar eclipse, or it just becomes untenable, we pollute our environment too much, whatever. Do you have like a plow and like an ox or something? Like, do you know how to grow enough food for yourself? Do you think that if our supply chains get disrupted, farmers are going to just continue delivering their food to grocery stores that like can't pay or won't pay, or they can't even get the trucks to load it up, or some kind of crop blight occurs or whatever. I mean, any number of things, folks, really. I mean, it's a non-0% chance. Do I think it's likely? Not super. I hope not. I would like to think that it's not likely. Maybe it's only like a 1%. Maybe it's only a 5%. I don't know the odds. I don't think anyone does. But are you ready in case something goes wrong? Do you have like a week's worth of drinking water at least, if not 2 weeks? I mean, I live on the Cascadia subduction zone, and it's not likely to cause any problems in my lifetime, but if it does, and there's a massive earthquake, and first responders can't get to me for weeks, and there's no water, all the pipes are broken, and there's rubble, or there's chaos in the streets, or there's a civil war, there's any number of things. Do I have drinking water? Do I have some food? Do I have a plan? Can I defend myself? That's one reason. Another is just protection. Can I defend myself? When some high school dropout Nazi sympathizer who's joined ICE recently comes into my city and is trying to cause trouble and doesn't respect my constitutional rights, the constitutional rights of anyone in their way, and doesn't mind getting their hands dirty to punish people who are in their way, even if it's against the law, because they know that the law is not going to be upheld, as it has not been recently. What's going to stop that person? What's going to stop that armed thug from ending my life, or ending life of someone I care about, or throwing me in some jail cell for no reason, right? I'm a good American citizen. I pay my taxes, I vote, I do public cleanup, I care about the environment, I donate. I'm an everyday middle-class American, probably just the same as you are. We all have our differences, we all have our own You know, I definitely have my privileges or unique facets of my upbringing or whatever. We're all different and yet we're all the same, right? And I'm not kidding myself. You know, I know that if a bunch of federal agents come in and, like, what am I going to do about, you know, I'm one person, right? What am I going to do against that? But what if enough American citizens say enough is enough, and we're not going to let tech billionaires decide our future, and we're not going to let the president keep committing crimes, we're not going to allow the FBI or the Department of Justice to be run by a drunk fool, and we're not going to allow draft dodgers to decide whether or not we go to war, we're not going to allow any of this bullshit. Right? And we're not going to allow you to come into our city and kidnap us or kill us for exercising our First or Second or any amendment rights. If enough Americans say, and by the way, this is fully unloaded, Smith & Wesson Model 686, if enough Americans have the means at their disposal to protect themselves, I'm telling you, folks, some of these goons, some of these federal or state or any of these agents, the only language that they respond to is power. And the only language that they know how to use is violence. So the only antidote to a broken system that benefits the few and punishes the many hardworking Americans, is to be able to defend yourself and to be able to say enough is enough. So, by myself, I'm not going to be able to do anything. But if you today start doing some researching, start going to your local, gun range, or take some classes, some online, maybe some in person, and you know how to protect yourself or protect your family or protect your loved ones, if enough of us, when the next time the government tries to infringe upon our rights, right? Remember, how was our country founded? Right? I'm not going to go into that right now, but you should know how our country was founded. And you should know that a well-armed militia is necessary if the government tries to act unjustly and tyrannical. Right? So that's in our Constitution. So the next time that our government tries to do something to us unfairly, unjustly, or if it just keeps getting worse and worse, at some point we have to take to the streets. We have to protest, we have to stand up, and we have to eliminate the people who are acting not in our interest. And we need to change the system, if need be. Right? That's the only way forward. That's where the world is currently heading. And at some point, I'll make a separate video on concealed carry, firearms, guns as a hobby. But for now, I just want to go over what we've covered and how they all relate. So, we have global state of affairs, United States on a precipice, and concealed carry. And we have several different things we talked about for each of those big themes. AI and billionaires and the global economy and war changing and ICE and no checks and balances and the ultra-wealthy parasites, these are all related, and they are all stacked up against the average, everyday, hardworking person. The only way to change this is to stop doom scrolling, is to arm yourself, is to be ready to, if need be, exercise violence back in the face of tyranny. But for the most part, let's try to be peaceful about it, yeah? Let's go out there and say enough is enough. Contact your state representatives. You know, you should be writing to your state representative at least once a year, if not much, much more. And you should be reaching out to them and talking about the issues that matter to you, talking about how you don't want this AI data center built in your backyard polluting all your water, or whatever cause you care about personally. And we should be more involved politically. And when that doesn't work, if the state cracks down on us for whatever reason and infringes upon our rights, then enough Americans who know how to protect themselves and uphold the Constitution and their rights is the only way forward. I mean, how else? If violence is the only language that some people understand, you have to be ready. And the great thing is that most likely that won't be needed. Just the knowledge that Americans are tired and have had enough will put fear into those who seek to just take away our future, the future of our kids. So I covered a lot today. A lot of it was rambling. I'll make some other videos on some topics at some point. Please leave a comment if there's a particular subject you think is you would like me to talk about, or leave a comment if you think I should stop talking and that I ramble too much. Whatever your opinion is, I'd love to hear it. And I hope you have a safe rest of your day, and I'll catch you later.